Hello my beautiful and makeup loving friends. If this is your first time to my channel, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Emily and today we are going to be talking all about the brand new Pat McGrath Mothership Bronze Seduction palette. So we have a lot to talk about. Let's go ahead and jump right on in. If the name Pat McGrath sounds familiar, that's because you probably know her as the lady who charges $125 for eyeshadow palettes. Yes, $125. $125.
Hello, I like money.
Let's all take a moment of silence here just to remember and to commemorate the life of the money that went into this palette, so... Okay, I'm over it. But as you can see, we have this beautiful palette here to talk about today, and I have had the wonderful experience of being able to try this guy out. I've done a couple looks with it, so let's just jump right into all of the nitty-gritty details about the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette. So as stated earlier, this baby costs a whopping $127. You get 13.2 grams of product in the palette, which is 0.47 ounces for each pan. And as you can see, you get 10 different shades in this palette. And Pat McGrath has posted on her Instagram page that she pulled inspiration from people like Grace Jones, Elizabeth Taylor, David Bowie, and even the music cover art for a Bow Wow song. This palette includes 4 foiled shades, 2 metallics, 1 shimmer, and 3 mattes. I'm not even kidding, it took me like 5 tries to actually get that sentence out. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me, but I could not get those words out of me for the life of me. This palette comes in the most gorgeous packaging I think I've ever seen. As you can see, we have this beautiful cover art on here, and for some reason when I saw this, it reminded me immediately of American Horror Story. Season 7 to be specific, reminded me of Cult, and I'm 100% down for that because I love American Horror Story. Is anyone else watching the new season? Because good lord, things are about to get crazy. So I'm sure you can tell, but I'm wearing this on my eyes today, and I've been wearing it over the past couple of days. I actually did an all shimmer look today. I basically just used all of the foiled shades on the corner here to do an eye look. And it's not my favorite thing I've ever done because I would rather have some mattes in there, but I just wanted to see if it could be done and if it still looked good. And I think it looks pretty okay. I also put together a look yesterday where I basically used the rose gold shade all over the lid and kind of deepened everything up with some of the browns, and then I used the red eyeshadow actually as liner, and I've seen Pat McGrath do that a couple of times. I've seen her basically mix together her shadows with the Maron mixing liquid, and she seems to be able to manipulate the shadow to almost work as a cream when she does that. So I wanted to see if it could be done. It was very hard, but it was achievable, so... It is achievable. What you see on her Instagram, you can get, but it kind of takes a lot of effort to do so, and you use a lot of shadow. The top row of this palette consists of Skin Show Divine Glow, Entrapment, Bronze Blaze, Rose Gold 005, and VR Fire Opal. The bottom row consists of Extreme Aubergine, Guilty Pleasure, Disobedient, Blitz Flame, and Astral Luna Gold. I think that the names that she picked out for this palette match up with the colors just perfectly. I mean, this beautiful white gold shimmery goodness over here is the Astral Luna Gold shade. And this beautiful red-green duochrome one on the bottom here is VR Fire Opal. And if you've ever seen a Fire Opal in person or a picture of one, this looks almost identical to one. And honestly, these 2 shades are the ones that sold me on this palette. So let's get into how I feel about the formulas themselves. So there are 3 mattes in this palette, and as you can see, they're all pretty deep and they're all pretty neutral for the most part. I mean, you get a warm brown, you get a more taupey, rosy brown, and then you get this beautiful plummy eggplant color. And fun fact, if you didn't know, aubergine, I believe, is French for eggplant. I know that aubergine means eggplant in some language, and I'm pretty sure it's French. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, don't clock me, but yeah, I guess this wasn't that fun of a fact, but moving on. So the thing that I've always heard about Pat McGrath's palettes and what makes them worth the money is that her mattes are just so incredibly blendable. You can literally dip your brush in one time and be able to coat both eyes with pigment as well. They're super pigmented. And I've actually found that to be true. I wasn't really expecting it, to be honest, because I had heard 1.5 million things about Natasha Denona's formula, and I happen to own one of her palettes as well. And I didn't really think that it was that great, but I have to say I was really pleasantly surprised by Pat McGrath's matte formula. I dipped into aubergine and was literally able to basically get enough pigment to deepen up the outer V on both eyes yesterday. And that's a pretty rare thing, especially with a deep plummy color like this. It was beautiful, it blended perfectly, it wasn't choppy at all, no patchiness, none of that jazz. These mattes perform really, really nicely. Now, personally, I would prefer them to be a little bit more bright, a little bit more colorful, but you know, that's just me. I say that about literally every single palette. If it was up to me, I would have hot pink in every single palette. But what I understand from this color scheme here is that I personally think Pat McGrath wanted the shimmers and the foils and the metallics to be the star of the show here. As you can see, all of the metallics are just so beautifully colored. We get some really fun, unique colors in here. And then she wanted the mattes to be a bit more subdued. This way it was something you could deepen up your looks with. And because the shades are a little bit more understated and not super out there and not super bright, you can really focus your look on the actual shimmer shadow or the metallic shadow itself. Now the two metallic shadows in the palette, in my opinion, are Bronze Bliss and Guilty Pleasure, which are these kind of more brown toned, taupey type metallic shades. Now I definitely think that they aren't the same formula as the four on the end here. These are much more foiled and a lot more sparkly. So in my opinion, these two are more so of a creamy metallic. They almost have a creamy feel to them. When you put your finger in them, they kind of feel wet, and they have a really beautiful amount of sparkle in them. Now they're not super sparkly by any means, but there's definitely a little bit of a sparkle going on there. Just threw in just a little kiss of sparkle into the formula, and it really gives the shadows this beautiful shine. They just look so nice on the eyes, and they're so smooth yet still so metallic. I really like the formula of these two shades. Now the one shimmer in the palette, in my opinion, is this baby on the end over here, and this is Skin Show Divine Glow. I believe that Pat McGrath always names one of her shadows Skin Show something. Now this shadow doesn't have any sparkle to it, it's just purely a glow. It's a beautiful champagne. This would work beautifully as a face highlighter. That's basically all I can say about it, because this is the one that isn't super impressive to me, but that's because we've seen it before, and I understand that she wanted to put in a nice brow bone highlight or a face highlight or an inner corner highlight, and this does just the job for that. Now the star of the show in this palette, of course, are these beautiful foiled shades at the end here. All of these are absolute perfection. This is the most perfect foiled eyeshadow formula I think you could ever get, and I'm not over exaggerating with that. I truly feel that way. Now you are going to get some fallout with these shades. They have sparkle in them. They definitely have a good amount of shine, but you're not going to get a chunky kind of crusty glitter thing happening on the eyes. I've tried out all of these. As you can see, I'm wearing almost all of them on my eyes today, and it doesn't look chunky at all. They have sparkle in them, but it doesn't get crusty or cakey or anything like that, and I experienced that a lot with these kind of more foiled shadows. You can really build them up, and they start to kind of crepe on the eyes and just look weird and old, and it's not anything anyone wants a part of. But these do not do that. They look so smooth and so metallic on the eyes. They are so eye-catching. They are literally just perfection. I wish she would come out with quads of these. I would buy all of them, or singles of these, or duos. Come on, girl, I don't want to spend $125 to get more of these, but I want more of these. So let's make something happen here, Pat. I will be a loyal customer. But these are just so beautiful. You will see it in the swatches. They do all the talking for themselves. They're just perfection. That's all I can say. I also don't find that they transfer into my crease. I have slightly hooded eyes, I think. I'm not sure. I always say this. I really don't know what kind of eyes I have. But I always find that shimmers can transfer up into my crease if I don't use a glitter glue. And yesterday I actually filmed a look, as I was saying earlier, but I just didn't use the footage. But a girl was tired. I hadn't gone to sleep the night before, and I should have not been in front of a camera filming myself because I was a hot mess. But I basically did one unprimed eye where I didn't put anything on my eye. It was just a bare eyelid, and then I did half of my look on the unprimed eye, and then I did the other half on the primed eye. And they looked exactly the same. I didn't get any transfer on either one. As I said earlier, I got a bit of fallout, but it's nothing that can't be brushed away. So overall, I am absolutely loving this palette. Do I think the price point is expensive? Hell freaking yeah. That is so expensive. $125. That is too expensive, let's be honest here. And honestly, I probably shouldn't have bought this, but I'm happy I did, because I am just really feeling like I got my money's worth for just those 4 beautiful foiled shades. And the rest of them are a nice bonus, but I really feel like this formula is just amazing. Now, I definitely am not suggesting that if you don't have the money to do so, to go out and purchase this. It's really expensive, and will you be okay without it? Abso-freaking-lutely. We'll all be okay without makeup. We'll all be barefaced and beautiful and be a-okay. But if you have the money to do so and you've been looking at it, I highly suggest going out and purchasing it because it's amazing. Now, if you've been curious about whether or not to go with Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath, if you've been wanting to try some of these extremely expensive luxury brands, I definitely suggest going the Pat McGrath route. I have two palettes from both of them. I have the Sunset palette from Natasha Denona, and I have this palette from Pat McGrath. And Natasha Denona is good, but to me it's nothing that's overly special. But Pat McGrath truly has a special formula and it's unique, and I don't really think you're going to get much like it elsewhere unless she releases singles or duos or quads of the foiled formula. I'm really hoping and praying here that she does because I want more. But those are my opinions on the Pat McGrath Mothership V Bronze Seduction palette. Still can't believe I bought this. I'm kind of kicking myself in the head for doing so, but I'm happy that I have it. But please do let me know down in the comments below. Have you been looking at this palette? Have you already bought it and you love it? Do you hate it? Do you not want it? Let me know, because I feel some type of way about this. I'm loving it, but I want to know how everyone else is feeling because I haven't really watched a whole lot of reviews on this. But I do hope that you consider subscribing if you have not already. I am doing all sorts of makeup goodness happening here on this channel, so if you are not already subscribed and you would like to be, I would love to see you hit that button down below. I do also hope that you consider giving this video a big old thumbs up and turning the notification bell on if you did enjoy it. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing and beautiful day wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching today. I hope to see you next time. Bye!